In a few moments, we will hear for the first time on this Rosh Hashanah the sounds of the shofar. But before we do, I want to take a few moments and offer maybe even a bit of an extended introduction to frame our experience of hearing the shofar and to perhaps set our intentions as we listen to the sounds of the shofar today. In February of this past year, I had the opportunity to visit Israel on a solidarity mission with a group of community leaders and rabbis. And what I think was ultimately the most impactful moment of the trip was one that was not on the itinerary. We were coming to the end of our first day in Tel Aviv, and we were 20 rabbis on a bus, which means about 45 opinions. And something happened that had not happened in Tel Aviv in weeks, which was that the air raid siren went off. Now, in Tel Aviv, when the sirens go off, you have about 90 seconds to get to shelter. And those 90 seconds for me broke down as follows. 30 seconds of confusion. Wait, what is that sound? Is the bus going to pull over? And Israeli bus drivers are afraid of nothing. And about 30 seconds of panic. Open the frickin' door, except we did not use that word. And then once we got off the bus, 30 seconds of fascination as Hamas and Iron Dome put on quite a light show over our heads. And then, as someone said, this is probably not the best time to be standing looking up at the heavens. We found refuge in a BMW dealership. So it is the first time in history that Jews have sought out German precision engineering to protect us from those who want to wipe us out. Now, it took me longer than 90 seconds to describe those 90 seconds. So if you want to think about, and people spend a lot of time on these high holidays looking at their watches, I've noticed, but 90 seconds is about as much time as it takes me to blow a regular set of shofar notes without a tekiah gedola. But by the way, depending on where you live, that is a luxury. In Yokneam, and if you've ever been on a Federation trip, you know that that is the most important city in all of Israel. And we actually helped rehabilitate a shelter there. You actually have about a little bit less than a minute, which is about the length of my record tekiah gedola. If you are towns in Gaza or the northern border, you have at most 15 seconds. We hear the shofar at most every day during Elul, most likely just these 1 or 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, and then once at the end of Yom Kippur. For years in Israel, sirens have been a fact of life every day. And so as we hear the sound of the shofar today, I want you to contemplate what it would mean for the blast of that shofar to be as long as you have to save your own life. Think about what that shofar is warning you about this year. Now, by the way, the mystics tell us that the shofar is more than just a warning. It actually has a spiritual effect in the heavens. It causes God to rise from the throne of danger, the throne of justice, and to sit on the throne of mercy. And the shofar is therefore also not just a warning, but also a sound of protection. And I think if you follow the news from the last few days, to have hundreds of missiles fired and the only casualties be 13 people who were firing them and 2 who were celebrating really is nothing short of miraculous. The sound of a shofar, for all we credit human ingenuity and Jewish engineering, we understand that there is a greater hand at work. But the point of the shofar also is a reminder that we must raise our voices. The shofar tells us that we cannot ourselves be silent, that we need to speak up. The tekiah gedola, the long sound of the shofar, we are told, is symbolic of the redemption yet to come, of a world in which there is peace, a world in which there are no more sirens. And so my prayer for you today as you listen to the shofar is that you use some of your spiritual energy in this moment to pray for those who have barely that much time to get their loved ones to shelter. That you think about the alarms that you need to hear in your own life, as you think about those who are in need of protection, as you think about how you will raise your voice in the year to come, and that perhaps you even look ahead to a time when the sound of the shofar is the only sound that lasts for 90 seconds.